Thank you so much, Zakia, and thank you, Nora. Dr. Jim McMillan has completed more than 4 decades of work in higher education, mostly as a professor in the Department of Foundations, in the Department of Educational Foundations here in the VCU School of Education. He taught research methods and measurement, as well as a popular dissertation seminar, and he has advised and mentored countless students. Dr. McMillan's professional career includes the development of a doctoral program in research, assessment, and evaluation, active participation in national professional associations, and authorships of numerous professional books, journal articles, and has conducted countless presentations. Over the years, he has established an international reputation for contributions in classroom assessment. His research area focuses on the measurement of student perceptions of science assessment, including the study of how students being wrong, in other words, making mistakes and learning errors on assessments, can facilitate motivation, self-regulation, perseverance, study skills, and subsequent achievement. In addition to his duties as a faculty member, Dr. McMillan has also served as a department chair, as a director of MERC, the Metropolitan Educational Research Consortium, and as the school's interim associate dean for academic affairs. Notably, Jim is retiring with the honor of receiving a VCU Distinguished Career Professorship. Raised in Midland, Michigan, Jim became a notable athlete. At Albion College, he played football and ran track. And in 1970, Albion College inducted Jim into their Football Hall of Fame. In Jim's spare time, he enjoys watercolor painting, is an avid reader, and most importantly, in the summer, is a competitive sailor in Michigan, either skippering or crewing on 3 different fleets. Jim and his wife, Jan, will celebrate 49 years of marriage in June, and they have 2 children, John and Ryan. Jim is also the proud papa of Dylan and Liam. It is our incredible privilege and honor today to celebrate a true superstar in the VCU School of Education, Dr. Jim McMillan.
Woohoo, Jim!
Yay, Jim! So we have some very special people, some of Jim's colleagues and former students who are going to speak on his behalf. They're going to give some glowing remarks and wonderful stories just to let you know how great Jim is. We will begin first with Dr. Lisa Abrams. Lisa?
Yeah, can you see me?
Yes.
Great. So I'm honored to be part of this Lifetime Achievement Award for Jim, and just in the spirit of today's events, when Jim first arrived to VCU in 1979, popular movies at the time were Kramer versus Kramer, Alien, and Monty Python's Life of Brian. So over the past year, I have fielded a number of questions about Jim's retirement as his news spread. For example, I've heard Jim is retiring. Is it really true? I can't believe it. What will it be like in the SOE after Jim's retires? It seems like these questions were really about his colleagues' desire to prepare themselves for his departure and to start adjusting to the large void that will be left by his absence. These questions also encouraged me to reflect on lessons that we can learn from Jim about how he sustained his lengthy career at VCU and had such a profound impact on the School of Education. I'd like to take my 2 minutes today to share what I call the McMills, or lessons from Jim. McMill number 1, be and stay positive. Jim is one of the most positive people I know. He is really unflappable. No matter how bleak, dire, stressful, or frustrating a situation seems, Jim will always find a silver lining, identify an overlooked opportunity, or a hidden diamond of an idea. His positivity is informed by his broad perspective of VCU and University of Life, which he's often shared to give his colleagues much needed encouragement. McMillan number 2, be disciplined. Jim has an unwavering sense of self-discipline, purpose, and efficiency. He's almost always the first one in the office, and you can count on a cheerful greeting when you pass his door. You can set your clock by his lunchtime routine of going to the gym, taking a walk around campus, or meeting for a colleague for a meal. Whenever you enter his office, he is almost always writing, which has led to a prolific body of scholarship on assessment and research methods. This disciplined schedule has also had an unintended bonus. Jim has never had to pay for parking at VCU in 42 years. McMillan number 3, build relationships. People are the center of Jim's work. What matters most are the personal connections. Jim values others. He is beloved by students. They even awarded him a most likely to be quoted outside of class superlative. He cultivates and tends relationships with colleagues and mentors new faculty. He always has time to talk about an issue, help to problem solve, and has been a model for many of us of how to balance, or the importance of balancing our and professional lives. He has a rich and full life outside of the VCU School of Ed, where he enjoys VCU basketball games, football games, teaching sailing lessons, and expanding his culinary skill. His time with friends and family has helped to sustain his long-term career. So VCU has changed dramatically over the past 4 decades, and Jim has been a strong voice in shaping the School of Education and making it what it is today. So thank you for all of you taught us, and many congratulations.
Awesome job. Thank you, Lisa. The McMills, that's a wonderful tribute to him. We will now move on to one of Jim's former students, Dr. Jesse Senegal. Jesse?
Hi, thanks. I was asked to say a few words about Jim as a teacher. And I can start by saying Jim was an excellent teacher, probably one of the best teachers I ever had. And there's several things I'm thinking about with that. First, he is a true expert in his field, and like all great teachers, his mastery of his content allowed him to teach complex and abstract ideas in ways that really helped everybody understand. And right now, much of my work is spent designing research and evaluation, and I have to say that I'm always thinking back about the ideas that Jim shared in the 710 class. It's sort of his signature class. And the other day, I made this point during a meeting when we were talking about all the disruptions of school, and I said, well, that's a classic example of a history threat to validity, and I was pretty much quoting Jim there, and I hope I got that right, Jim. The second reason I think Jim's an excellent teacher is because he just has super high standards. That was not an easy class, and everybody is always thankful for getting through 710. And the rigor of that class, you really need to earn your grade, but what really made his class challenging also made it rewarding. And the challenge of the course really pushed me to integrate the ideas into my ways of thinking about research and research design. And so I'm thankful for that. The third is that Jim is just obviously really enjoys teaching. There's, as a student, you could see it because you could see the passion in his eyes when he would teach, and he would laugh, and he would push us in the class to think in new ways. And as a teacher myself, I recognize this is the joy that comes with the intellectual work of teaching. It's fun, and you could see that when Jim taught. And finally, and I think one of the most important points, is that Jim is committed to the idea of community. As any great teacher would, Jim built community in his classroom, but his work also extended outside of that, really into his commitment to the School of Education's community of learning. Not only was his office door always open, but he also actively organized social events for the research and evaluation track. And he opened his home. He and Jan opened their home to the students and faculty within the foundations department. And not just that, but his idea of community also extended outside of VCU into the broader Richmond community. And through his 20 years of leadership with Merck, he extended our community of scholarship outside into the K-12 educational community. And as I work with Jim now, I'm always impressed with how many school practitioners and school leaders have connections to the School of Ed. And when these conversations happen, Jim's name is often mentioned. They'll say, he was my teacher too, they say. And Jim's influence on our region's schools is immeasurable. And I'm so thankful for all the work he's done. There's a lot more I could say because Jim wasn't just my teacher, he was also my mentor, and he was also my colleague and my friend, and he has all sorts of excellence in those areas as well. But I just want to say in closing, thank you. We'll miss you. And the VCU School of Education, it's not a building or organizational unit, but it is a community, and a community of scholars, and you are one of the foundational pillars of that community. And as you move into retirement, know that we're going to work really hard to uphold the excellence of your work. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jesse, for those profound words. Next, we will move on to Dr. Mike Broda. Mike.
Thanks, Zakia. I was asked to speak a little bit about Jim as a mentor, and really, I was thinking back on it. It's amazing how formative Jim was in my career and coming here to VCU. I can remember, I think almost 6 years ago, I was on a phone interview with Jim for this job, and I can still remember Jim asking the question, so Mike, how would you feel about being the stats guy at VCU? And little did I know the importance of that question and the direction it would take. Jim was the first person I met when I visited VCU, met me at the airport, gave me a quick tour of the city, drove me around. We caught some of the high points, and really that started our mentorship and relationship. Every semester, Jim and I would grab lunch. I'm sure there are probably lots of other folks on this call who are in the same boat, and would catch up and learn how things were going. We would usually go to the Village Cafe. Jim introduced me to the beautiful Village Cafe, and we would just talk about how things are going, and he would offer advice, and it was just so important for me to have a senior colleague who was there and had seen so much and was able to kind of coach me through the process, and it was invaluable. And on top of that, we shared a wall, which was pretty awesome. I even got to hear some of that new country music that he's been listening to lately. It's not too bad, but it's been such an honor, Jim, to work so closely with you. And you've been such an influence in how I think about teaching and scholarship and research, and you've just been a fantastic example. So thank you. You will be dearly, dearly missed.
Thank you so much, Mike. We appreciate you giving those kind remarks on Jim's behalf. Next, we will move on to another former student, Dr. Sarah Mars. Sarah?
Thanks, Zakia. So first, I feel the need to disclose that I had nothing to do with that superlative. That was all Lisa Jackson, for those of you who know her. So Jim, I've conducted a brief survey following all of your guidelines. And on behalf of many of my schoolmates and myself, there's a very clear, overwhelming consensus. And that is that we still cannot believe that you're actually retiring. We mostly can't believe that cohorts upon cohorts of future students won't have the same 710 experience as us. Translation, for those of you who don't know what's coming, that means they won't suffer through his infamous exams the same way that we did. It's like a rite of passage going through the School of Education. But most unfortunately, for future SOE students, they won't be quite as talented writers as we are, because they won't be privy to your very long list of words to never, ever include in their writing, words such as dearth and posit. I've had a handful of truly memorable teachers throughout my academic career who I try to embody now in my own teaching, and you, Jim, are without a doubt one of those teachers. I can only hope that my own students walk away with the same, even half of the same understanding of research and statistics that your students walk away with. And though I'm certain that they hate me for it, I hope you feel a sense of joy every time I sit in my office botching a data set so that I can effectively illustrate the importance of cleaning your data and checking your descriptive statistics before you run your analysis. We both know eventually they'll thank me for this lesson. I also hope a smile unexpectedly comes across your face every time one of your former students corrects someone by saying, "Tests aren't reliable, scores are." I assure you it happens more than you can possibly imagine, as evidenced by your superlative. To say that things won't be the same without you is a vast understatement. The impact you've had on your students, your colleagues, the School of Education, VCU, and the Academy at large, Jim, are, in a word, profound. While we may fill your office, we will never be able to fill your shoes. I hope retirement is a fabulous new adventure. Cheers to you, friend.
Awesome job, Sarah, and to everyone who spoke on Jim's behalf. Jim, J-I-M, is really a Jim, G-E-M. So now, Jim, we would like to turn it over to you if you would like to say a few remarks. We hope you will.
Wow. Everybody, hopefully you can hear me okay.
Yeah.
My mic is, I'm doing this technology right. This is like unexpected and just really, really awesome. I don't know, I actually have thought about some things to say, and I'll try and pull myself together here so I'll be able to. First of all, thank you, Zakia and Dean Dare and Lisa and Sarah and Mike and Jesse. You know, I was like a B student in college, and I guess I have my wife to thank for some of that stuff you saw at the beginning, because I just was not into academics really much, and so all of this today, it just kind of doesn't seem like it's even possible. I never thought I'd even be a professor or teach doctoral classes. So anyway, it's true, definitely, that days go slow and years go fast. And in many ways, this is a conflicted time for me, because I think after a lot of years, I'm finally getting over my imposter syndrome. I'm finally able to get to the point where I do have some contributions, but you know, actually, this is more a celebration of higher education than anything else in our institutions, and the opportunities that we have to have a profound influence on the lives of others. And so while I'm leaving VCU in this role, I'm just very thankful for all the opportunities that I've had and all the support and help that I've had over the years. When I think about what's been really important, I kind of go back to my athletic days, I guess. And those of you who have been on athletic teams know how important the camaraderie is, and the friendships and the good and bad together and the experiences. And that seems to be so much more important than the scoring and the outcomes and the results. And I kind of think about my higher education career in the same way. There are accolades, perhaps, or awards or publications, and there are as well politics and budget issues and so forth. But when you get to my stage, at this point, you realize that the most important element of what we do, what is truly long-standing, is how we influence the lives of others, primarily our students and colleagues. We have this profound, unique opportunity to impact others, and sometimes as an accumulation of what might seem to be small or inconsequential things. I know I'll never forget, just as one example, and I've thought about trying to thank all the people, but it would be such a long list. We don't have time, frankly. But I just as an illustration of something small, perhaps, but really important, is Catherine Dabney stopping by my office and just saying hi and just talking for a little bit. And Catherine, thank you. That was just really important. And that kind of thing is really important. And so if we can have this kind of influence, what makes it possible? I think it's the quality of our culture. I think it's how we value, respect, and trust each other, whether our communication is caring and authentic, seeing the positive, lifting each other up. That's what facilitates our success and ameliorates our failures. Over the years, I've had many struggles, received many rejection letters, many kind of contentious situations. I've messed up a lot, taken many missteps, but many of you have lifted me up over the years, and I'm very thankful for that. You probably didn't know at the time, but some of my struggles have been severe, and those small gestures of notice and smiles and conversation and connection have been just really important. And I think that's a message that kind of sticks with me about my experience here. I'm just sad in some ways that because I actually had opportunities to do more and didn't. Maybe I didn't talk to students enough in my office about their hobbies, or have coffee with colleagues, or enough lunches. But I've just been fortunate. I've just been really lucky. My students have been wonderful. I have loved them. I've been fortunate to have great colleagues, especially in foundations department. Our faculty overall right now, I might say, is the strongest I've seen in 40 years. It's just a group of awesome, talented, caring people. And so the sky's the limit moving forward. So I just want to say thank you. I'm very grateful. I've got some great memories that are significant, and basically I'm about to the point, at least when this week is over, of being able to say I've got everything I need and nothing that I don't. I really appreciate the recognition. Thank you, staff, for putting up with me, to students, to school leadership, to my partner, Jan, who evidently was part of this. I guess you must have been. Thank you, honey. And most of all, I want to thank my fellow faculty members. It's been a great ride. It's not over yet completely. It's taking a new path. But this has been like really, it's really hit me, and I just appreciate it so much. And so thank you, and I will look forward to seeing all of you. Thank you very much.